when you mentioned about the 180 days. Hello, hello. Like this. A very good afternoon to those who have joined our webinar already. We will be starting in around 5 minutes. We'll just wait for a few more attendees to come. A very good afternoon to everyone. This is Kurt, and on behalf of our team, I'd like to welcome you once again to this week's session of our collective webinar. For this week, our team have decided to tackle on Tax Residency Certificate or TRC. To put it in a simple way, TRC is obtained by either an eligible individual or legal person to take advantage of the DTAA or double taxation avoidance agreements on income to which the UAE is a signatory. So these agreements strengthen the statute of the UAE as a global financial and trade hub in the international arena, as the provisions of the agreements demanded by the Global Forum on Transparency provide a legal framework for the tax authorities to practice cross-border cooperation without violating the sovereignty of other states or the right of taxpayers. On this webinar, we aim to give you a better understanding on what a tax residency certificate is, who needs it, and how to obtain it. Our expert speaker would also give you valuable insights into how this TRC can impact your tax obligation and what steps you can take to ensure compliance with the tax laws. So along with me right now is our project manager, Ms. Angeli, who has been in this field for a long time and will be sharing her expertise on these topics that we have today. As usual, the first half of the session would be for our team to discuss the relevant topic for this week. You can send the queries and clarifications that you might have on the message box below, and we will have them addressed in the latter part of the session. So without any further ado, I will now pass the mic to Ms. Angeli.
A very good afternoon for all of you. My name is Anjali Midun, Project Manager in IMCA. I have more than 3 years relevant experience in the corporate service providing. So let's go to the avoidance of double taxation now. Double taxation is defined when similar taxes are imposed in two countries on the same taxpayer on the same tax base, which harmfully affects the exchange of goods, services, and capital and the technology transfer and the trade across the border. Public and private companies, investment firms, air transport firms, and other companies operating in UAE, as well as residents, benefit from avoidance of double taxation agreements. With the purpose of promoting its development goals, the UAE concluded 137 DTA to with more of its trade partners. So let's go to the double taxation agreements. In the framework of global strategic partnerships and to enhance competitiveness of the United Arab Emirates, the ministry is working on expanding its double taxation agreements, that means DTA, and bilateral investment treaties, BIT network, where it concludes 193 DTS and BATs with the purpose of exempting and reducing taxes on the investment and profit from the direct and indirect taxes, in addition to protecting those investments of all kind of non-commercial risk to ensure that those profits can be transferred in a free convertible currency. So this will include the benefits of double taxation. Promote the development goals of the UAE and diversify its source of national income. Eliminating double taxation, additional taxes, and indirect taxes, and fiscal evasion. Remove the difficulties relating to cross border trade and investment flows. Take into consideration the taxation issues and the global changes in the economic, financial sectors, and the new financial instruments, and the mechanisms and transfer pricing. Encourage the person should be spent 180 days in the country. Move on the required documents for that. Required financial year. We need to select the start date of the required financial year in which will be reflected in the certificate. For example, if the applicant selects 1st January 2018, the certificate will be valid from 1st January 2018 to 31st December 2018. For this time frame, you should be here in UAE for 180 days. It's not mandatory that this 180 days should be continuous. The next document, passport copy, it should be valid at least 3 months. UAE residence visa copy, Emirates ID copy. Then a certified copy of residential lease agreement or tenancy contract copy, which means in explanation, an annual lease agreement officially documented by the competent authorities such as Ijari in Dubai, municipalities in other Emirates, and free zone authority. Next one, source of income. It's very important. If you are a tax payable person, it's mandatory to show what is your income in UAE. The source of income can be proved in salary certificate or trade license, etc. Validated bank statements for 6 months from a local UAE bank. It's mandatory to have a local UAE bank account in UAE, and this 6 months latest bank statement should be stamped and verified by the bank. A report from the General Director of Residency and Foreign Affairs or Federal Tax Authority means ICA. Sorry, Federal Tax or Identity and Citizenship Authority. This will be specify the number of days of the resident who has stayed in the UAE. The same, they will be cross-checking that you have already spent 180 days in UAE for the financial year you have asked for. Tax forms. Maybe some of you are not familiar with this. So I will be giving the explanation. Tax forms, if any, some of the country in which the certificate is to be submitted. If the tax forms requires FTA signature and stamp, the user is requested to send the original form to FTA via courier with the return service. The applicant should fill and sign the field related in his details information or FTA to attest the form. Which means in certain countries like Cyprus or Saudi Arabia, if you want to submit the TRC and if you want to take the DTA, then the countries they will be giving their own format for getting attested from the FTA authority along with the TRC. This will include the tax forms.
Further to what was discussed by Ms. Angeli, I would just like to add on, as recently there have been a new amendment that was made with regards to specifically like the stay period that they have mentioned, because previously the authority have just been considering 180 days threshold for the applicant to stay here in UAE. But based on the new release on Ministerial Decision number 27 of 2023 on implementation of certain provisions of Cabinet Decision number 85 on 2022, wherein they have mentioned that it can be for the applicant can be physically present in the UAE for a period of 90 days or more in a consecutive 12-month period, and the individual should be a UAE national, holds a valid residence permit in the UAE, or holds the nationality of any GCC member state. They have also specified two additional conditions on top of this one. So the applicant must has a permanent place of residence here in the UAE, or she can carry an employment or a business, conducting a business as well here in the UAE.
So here you can see the TRC eligibility for individuals in the existing UAE tax treaties that are effective. There are 95 countries are there which have already the agreement with UAE. So it's important to check the nationality of individual prior to proceeding to the application. Let's move on to legal person TRC. Legal person TRC or corporate TRC. In order to eligible to apply for a TRC for the legal person, they must have been established for a period of at least 1 year in UAE. Financial accounts must be audited or prepared by an accredited audit firm and attached with her required documents to the application. For getting this TRC certificate for a company, at least they should be opened before 1 year and they should be having the latest audited financial report with them for proceeding with the application. Please note, offshore companies are not allowed to apply for the service because they are not listed in double taxation avoidance agreement. Let's move on to the required documents. Same as the natural person, you need to confirm about the required financial year for the corporate TRC as well. A copy of the trade license is very important and it should be valid. Memorandum of association and or article of association is required for a company TRC. The next documents is very important. Owners or anyone, any of the person, either owner, partner or director's passport copy, it should be valid. Emirates ID copy and residence visa copy, it's required. A certified copy of the latest audited financial accounts. Here, if you are applying for the 2023 TRC from 1st January 2023 to 31st December 2023, you should be having the audit report with you for the year 2022. Here, there is a much difference from the natural person TRC to a company TRC. The natural person TRC we are taking that it's already passed. Like we are taking the TRC for 2022 only. But in the case of legal person TRC, we can take for the upcoming year. Like now 2023 is only started, but we can apply for the 2023 with the latest 6 months documents. That's why we will be requiring the 2022 latest audit report for applying for the 2023 TRC. Same as validated bank statements for 6 months from the local UAE bank. A certified copy of the lease agreement. Lease agreement or ijari is fine. Tax form. Same as if some other companies are giving their own format for getting attested from the FTA, that should be submitted along with this application. Okay, here we are finalizing the TRC. Now we are moving to the next part, not less important than TRC, but it's very important if you have already paid in the another if you have already spent the double taxation. Certificates of commercial activities means CCA applicable for VAT registered persons. Most of the cases only companies are required. Most of the cases companies are requiring the certificate. The purpose of this certificate here, a certificate of commercial activity means as a document issued by a FTA based on the request from a VAT registered person who is having already the TRN certificate to be used to support the recovery of the VAT incurred by the registrant in a different country, regardless of whether a double tax avoidance agreement exists or not. Suppose you have a company in India, sorry, you have a company in UAE, but mistakenly you have already filed the tax in India as well. So you have already paid the tax. The TRC means we need to save the tax paying. Here we are talking about you have already mistakenly paid the VAT in India. So in that cases, for getting that tax back, you need to apply for the certificate of commercial activities from UAE and need to submit to the India. Here the importance of the certificate will come. Now the eligibility criteria and documents required for CCA here. The applicant must have a TRN certificate by registered in Federal Tax Authority, either individual person or company person. The required documents include trade license, it should be valid, owner, partners, directors, passport copy, and Emirates copy. And there should be a requesting letter issued by the company, signed and stamped by the authorized signatory whose names in the trade license. In this case, FTA is eligible to ask any further additional documents for obtaining the certificate.
Now that Miss Angeli have given already the background and what are the necessary requirements that has to be done to obtain a TRC, I will just briefly explain what AMCA can do or how we can be of assistance to you in applying for one. So as what we have discussed for TRC, there are two types of application. It could be a natural person or a legal person. But for both application, we could assist you for both of it, including the certificates of commercial activities. We can also do an assistance with regard to TRC tax forms. So as what Ms. Angeli have explained a while back, for each different countries, they are adopting different tax forms as well. So this tax form in some cases has to be attested to FTA and further has to be attested with the MOFA or embassy attestation. So for entry and exit report, this is also one of the main requirements to count the days wherein the applicant have stayed here in UAE. So we could also do an assistance on that regard. So I think that's it for the presentation. We will now move on with the second part of the session, which is the question and answer portion. So meantime, you can send any clarification or queries that you have on the message box. I will take a five minutes and have it addressed right away. Okay, so we now have few questions on our message box. We will now address it one by one. So the first question is from Shaun Ahmed. Offshore companies like those in free zones. So just to clarify, like what exactly is an offshore companies? Basically, these are the companies that is licensed here in the UAE. However, their business is mainly outside of UAE's jurisdiction. So by forming an offshore company here in the UAE, they can manage, control, and overseas companies and their properties like on globally level as well. Next. Okay, moving on to the next question. Can you mention the article and the regulation relating to the latest amendment for the 180 days presence in the UAE? So the latest one is based on the ministerial decision number 27 of 2023. on implementation of certain provisions of Cabinet Decision number 85 of 2022 on determination of tax residency. So this one is the latest amendment that they have made, which is published and implemented starting 1st of March 2023. Now we're going to move on with the next question from Majid BM. Can you please clarify the tax form, Miss Angeli?
The tax forms basically is differ from the country to country. In Saudi Arabia, it's calling tax reconcile form, and Cyprus it's calling Cyprus tax fact. So in the related with this thing, if a person is the citizen of Cyprus and he is also the resident in UAE, so he want to save the tax in Cyprus. So in that case, he will be approaching the Cyprus authority for the tax avoidance. Then the will be giving him a form that will be called Cyprus tax fact that we need to bring here and we need to apply along with the TRC here. So we will be applying for the TRC for the Cyprus country. So in the same time, we need to get stamped this form from the FTA and it should be signed and stamped. So along with this, we will be submitting back to Cyprus authority with the TRC certificate. So this tax form differed from countries to countries. If in case of India, there is no tax form, this tax residency certificate will be enough. In case of Britain, the Great Britain, this TRC certificate will be enough. But if you are going to Saudi Arabia, Cyprus, some of the countries, it's totally depend on the other countries' requirement.
Hope that was clear to you now. Now we're gonna move on with the next question. Next question is from Van der Merwe. Can one still apply for TRC for previous years such as 2020, 2021, and 2022?
Yes, you can apply for the 2020, 2021, and 2022. The details is only if it's a corporate company or it's a corporate TRC, you should be having the relevant documents for the previous year and the same year as well. And 2022 also, if you're an individual person, you can apply for 2020, 2021, 2022. You are eligible.
Okay, next question. My group parent company is located in Jafsa, Dubai, free zone, with entities in mainland Dubai. So my understanding is that Dubai entities do not pay this new tax as the parent is subject to tax, not the local companies. Can you confirm? Thank you. So for this one, first we would just like to clarify, like what new tax are you referring to? Is it the corporate tax that is gonna be implemented starting 1st of June this year? But for this specific question, since it has a relation with regards to corporate tax, if in any case, I do suggest you go through on the email ID or the contact number as stated on the presentation so our business advisor can address you in a detailed manner for the specific situation that you have. Okay, we're going to take the next question. Can we get a TRC for a company for a future period? I mean, for the next financial year?
Yes. If you have the previous audited financials with you for the previous year, you can get the upcoming year for the TRC for a company only, not for the individual.
Okay, hope we're able to address that. Question from Kiati Nakum. What will be the validity for the certificate?
The validity of the certificate will be for only for 1 year. It cannot be less and it cannot be more.
Okay, the next one is from Majid BM. Can you take through the website and applying for TRC? So, since this is a general webinar that we are conducting right now, we cannot go through with the website, specific website wherein you could apply for the TRC, since we have just given like the background information on this one. But we do advise you, it is advisable that you go through with a tax agent or someone who is familiar with regards to this application for smoother application process, or since you might not be familiar as well with certain conditions that has to be there for certain documents. So for this one, we do advise you to again go through on the contact information as stated on the presentation, and our business advisors will be advising you accordingly. So the next question, can an investor get a TRC if he spent only more than 90 days but less than 183 days in the UAE? So as what I have mentioned a while back, for this new amendment regarding the 90 days threshold, this is specifically for UAE national who holds a valid residence permit in the UAE or holds the nationality of any GCC member state. So you have to meet these conditions first to be able to avail or for them to consider this 90 days threshold. So aside from that one, the applicant should have a permanent place of residence in the UAE or she must have an employment or must carry out a business in the UAE as well. So if you will be meeting these conditions that they have mentioned, then they can consider the 90 days threshold and not the 180 days. Okay, the next question from Ninad. Can you share a format of TRC issued by FTA for 90 plus days and 183 days for natural and legal person? For getting benefit of DTAA between India and UAE, how many days residence require in UAE? So first, we're gonna address the first question. As for the format, unfortunately, we cannot share it on this webinar alone since it's confidential information stated on the TRC.
And for the next question, regarding the benefit of DTA between India and UAE, yes, India is the list for the DTA. So you need to be resident for at least 180 days for the required period for getting the TRC with India. Regarding the previous question regarding the format of TRC, hopefully for the next webinar we will be giving you a format very clearly for addressing your query. Thank you.
The next question is from Saba Rose. Can I apply for TRC in personal category if I am resident in UAE, but I don't have business in UAE and have a business in Indonesia?
Miss Saba, you can apply for the TRC if you have the residency in UAE and you should be having a source of income in UAE. If you have the business in Indonesia, that is fine, but you will be getting the TRC upon the source of income in UAE and the residence.
Okay, the next question from Danny. We applied for corporate TRC with an effective start date of 31st March 2023. It was rejected due to the following reason. So the tax resident certificate request can't be processed for future financial year. TRC can only be granted for past financial years. So considering the company's financial year was January to December, will it be approved if we apply for 1st of January 2023 start date instead? So for this specific situation that you have, for this case that you have, we suggest that you go you contact us directly so that our team can assist you accordingly on this one. So this is what I have mentioned a while back. This is where we can come in and assist you on how we can proceed with the application for this one.
In this regarding this case from 1st January 2023, see, for the corporate TRC, every time we are doing for the past years and upcoming years only, because the documents which they are asking for the TRC is only the previous year audit report and at least latest 6 months bank statement. So in that case, you are eligible for applying for the 2023 TRC. We have so many experience that we have already done so many TRCs for the 2023 for with the all the documents.
The next question from Davina. Can a dependent apply for a TRC? If so, what are the additional requirements?
Miss Divina, yes, a dependent can also apply for the TRC. In that case, you should be having a special income, this individual income for you yourself. And if you are working in a company under a dependent visa, you should be having a labor card or an identity card with the company.
Okay, the next one is from Mr. Christopher. I have to get a tax residency certificate for Kazakhstan. Please let me know the process. So first off, Kazakhstan was confirmed to be in the list for both UAE nationals and UAE residents as well. So to guide you on the process on how you can obtain the TRC, again, we do advise you to contact us directly on either on the email ID or the contact information stated on the presentation so that our business advisor can assist you on this one. Okay, so the next question from Charito. We already received our TRC from FTA. So we need the special format to be attested as well, both from MOFA and the concerned country's embassy. But we are informed that it should be attested first from the country itself, Riyadh KSA, before it could be attested by MOFA in Dubai. Do we really have to send the special format to Riyadh for attestation when it was already stamped by FTA in Dubai?
Miss Sharito, in this case, if it's already attested from FTA, you can approach the Saudi embassy and you can get the embassy attestation. Then you can go for the MOFA attestation. There is no need for sending Riyadh for the attestation. Here in UAE also, you can do the attestation of the Saudi embassy. For more assistance, you can get back to us for assistance, any type of attestation and other services. We can help you with it.
To the next question, for TRC to be submitted in India to tax authorities, 90 days UAE residence criteria can be used. So as what we have I have mentioned a while back, if you are going to meet the conditions that they have specifically mentioned on the amendments, then they can use the 90 days threshold. Again, this is only for UAE national who holds a valid residence permit in the UAE or holds the nationality of any GCC member state. So you should have a permanent residence here in the UAE, or you could either be an employee or carries out a business in UAE. Okay, the next question is from Ramesh. For the fiscal year 2023, January 1st to December 31st, if I stayed here for more than 90 days by July, can I get a TRC certificate for 2023 in July itself?
Mr. Ramesh, this is for 90 days you are asking, but I will talk about the 180 days. If you are staying in UAE till July from 1st January 2023, and if you would like to apply for the TRC in July itself, yes, you are eligible. You can apply for the 2023 TRC because you have already spent more than 180 days in this case.
Okay, the next question. Our India TRC for 2022 has expired on 31st March. Could you please advise the procedure and required documents? So to give you like a detailed advisory on the procedure or process for this one, I do advise you to again contact us directly on the email address and the contact information as stated. With regards to the question on how many days after the application the TRC is issued, the estimated time frame for this one is 5 to 7 working days.
Please share the presentation.
That we will share the link. You can mention
We have gone through the questions that was sent on the message box. I think most of the question is referring with regards to the new amendment on the 90 days. So just to clear out on this one once again, for this 90 days threshold of stay here in the UAE, there are some certain conditions that you must meet for the authority to consider it as 90 days rather than the 180 days as normally required. So the individual or the applicant must be a UAE national, holds a valid residence permit in the UAE, or holds the nationality of any GCC member state. So key note on the UAE national on that one. And additional condition is he or she has a permanent place of residence here in the UAE, or he or she carries either an employment or a business activity here in the UAE as well. So some of the question as well is referring with regards to the list of the countries wherein the TRC eligibility for individuals is applicable. For this one, we are going to upload it on our website as well. So you can go through on our website. We'll have it uploaded as soon as possible. You can refer on that list whether that specific country is listed there or not. So aside from that, and again, we would like to clarify once again on the period by which you could apply the TRC for. So for the period,
Most of you are asking whether you can apply for the previous year and upcoming years as well. So in the future year, it's applicable only for the corporate TRC. And for the past years, if you are a resident, if you are looking for an individual TRC and corporate TRC, yes, you can apply for the previous years. The only thing is you should be having the previous year bank statement and the audit report, and if you should be spending 183 days for the required year. This is the criteria for meeting for getting the previous year.
okay, so for the rest of the question that we missed to address on this webinar session, rest assured that this will be noted and taken down. So if in any case, we will try to arrange another webinar with regards to TRC so we could clear out all the clarifications or queries that was sent on the message box that we missed to address. Meantime, you could book your consultation specifically for this one through the email ID or the contact number as stated on the presentation. So our business advisor can advise you on the specific queries that you have. Further, for the attendance of this webinar, please expect that we will be sending as well the record of this webinar, so you'll get an access for the presentation that we have showed just now sooner this within this week or upcoming week as well. Okay, so we would now wrap up this webinar this time. So we hope to see you once again in the upcoming webinar. Again, you can go through on the QR code as presented on the presentation, so you could be posted on the upcoming webinar or the upcoming topics that we would be tackling. So thank you so much and have a nice day ahead.